Okay. David's here. Okay. Okay, we left off on Ches, in the Maharal, page Ches, second column. Rabbi Alexandri had said, stuff from there. Old Omar, Rabbi Alexandri, kol misheish bo gas ruach. A person who possesses the characteristic of arrogance, of haughtiness. Afilu ruach kimoch roso. Even a slight wind is able to make him murky. If you have water and you have sand and silt underneath, so what happens? The silt, everything sinks to the bottom, the water is clear. If you stir, there's some level of current, motion in the water becomes murky. Now, how much of an emotion do you need to stir the water, right? So you need, when the wind starts churning, the waves, and there's a storm brewing, the water becomes murky. You ever take a look at the Hudson? There's certain times after certain, it looks like muddy water. Then there's certain days it looks clearer. It's a different color of the water, whether it's murky or not. So he says a person who has arrogance, who's haughty, even the slightest wind is able literally to really disrupt him, to cause a total disruption in his function. Like I explained even before we saw the Maharal, what he's going to say. Person who's self-centered. If you don't say good morning to the person, what happens? What happens to him? He walks in, people don't acknowledge him. He's bent out of shape. If things don't go exactly the way he wants them to go, he becomes incensed. Gets frustrated. Why are you frustrated? Where everything has to go your way? Well, if you're self-centered and you have that arrogance, everything has to be your way. So the slightest degree of off-center immediately sets him off balance. That's the attribute of arrogance. So therefore, even ruach kima, the slightest wind, actually creates this disruption in his function. There's a Maharal elsewhere, he points out that the root of anger is arrogance. Most times, what do people get angry? 99.9% of the time. How many times do I have to tell you, right? And therefore what? You mean you're not listening to me? So it always goes back to the me, right? You're working on a problem and you can't work it out and you get frustrated. Why are you frustrated? Right? Maybe it's beyond your ability. If they present you some kind of theory and they want you to figure out a certain problem in physics, which in MIT they haven't yet figured out yet. Or you can get frustrated. You say, look, it's beyond my ability. It's not within my capacity. You don't get frustrated. So if a person was truly humble, maybe there's certain things that are beyond your ability. It's not meant to be that you should understand this. Or it should succeed. I thought I was going to succeed. It didn't succeed. Therefore what? But it's a reflection on me. When is it a reflection on the person? If you really have this issue. If you feel that you're deserving and because of whatever the reason is, and it doesn't work out, you're frustrated, so it causes anger. So gaiva, arrogance and haughtiness is the root of anger. So it's interesting. The Gemara says in Shabbos, kol hakois kilo ovid avodah zarah. Okay? Right? It's the more famous Gemara in Shabbos. A person who becomes angry, it's like he's the equivalent of an idolater. Now, what is idolatry? Why does a person worship by idolatry? Of course, even if a person is a monotheist, initially, he has a problem, somehow he can't work it out with God, he'll go seek out other things. He'll seek out deities, because maybe that deity will somehow, right, address his issue. That's avodah zarah. Now, what is the root of anger? Gaiva. We said before, a person who's a truly arrogant person, it's as if what? As if you deny God's existence. Because if it doesn't go your way, it's irrelevant what God says. That's the way it is. It's my way, there's no other way. So when you become angry, what does that mean? It's not going your way. And it's reached a level where it doesn't go your way to the point that it's beyond, you can't tolerate it any longer. And that's when you explode. Therefore the Gemara says, Kol hashova kelim b'chamoso. The person who breaks vessels when he's angry, starts smashing things. That means you're out of control. When you reach that level, that's Oved Avodah Zarah. If you're still within control, that means you're suppressing it. You're still in control. But it reaches that point where you explode. That means you're totally overtaken by what you really are. And when is that? When you start breaking. So the Gemara asks a question. We find that there were great rabbis of the Talmud. To set order in the house, they would smash vessels. That the kids should know. The father means business. He's setting down the law. So the Gemara says that, firstly, it was only just a charade. They weren't really angry. They weren't really. So the Gemara says, what about Baltashvis? You're smashing vessels. So the Gemara says they would take broken pieces of pottery, and that's what they would smash. So it had no value. So there was no cost factor. There was no loss factor, financial loss. Therefore, but in terms of themselves, they weren't really angry. It's referred to only the funny. It was only the facial expression was as if they were angry. No, there the anger emanated from L'chil Hashem. There's something else. You can't tolerate God's pain. I mean, Pinchas killed Zimri. So it says, B'kano es kinosi. He expressed my wrath. He felt God's pain, that's why he was the zealot. No, I said in most cases. You're pained. If you're pained, there's anger. No, because there you're in touch with God. That's the reason. It's not because it's not going my way. It's not going God's way. That's free choice. I'm just telling what the Gemara asks. Okay, it's a separate discussion. When you get together with Moshe over the weekend, or with Shuas, you work it out. Oh, no, means of course you know who you are. But there's no therefore. But there's no therefore. There's no therefore. So if there's no therefore, you're not arrogant. But why are you getting angry? So therefore what? Why should you get frustrated? No. It tells you that's not within your capability. That tells you it's not within. What do you mean, why should have it been? I only have 180 IQ. Why don't I have a 300 IQ? It should have been. Because that's your limitation. It doesn't work, so it doesn't work. So maybe it wasn't meant to work. Well, but if it's me, it should have worked. Right? So again, it goes back to it should have. Why should have it? But why are you getting angry? What are you getting angry? You should be disappointed. You should be disappointed. This is what kind of kids I raised. You should be depressed, not angry. No, depressed is not anger. No, depressed. No. What are you talking about? A person sins. He's supposed to feel pain. He's supposed to feel pain. What are you pained? Because you failed. It was because of my own failing. That. So you're upset. The person, God forbid, drives a car, and the person, as a result of being distracted, kills a human being, kills a person. You curse the day that you went to the car. You're upset with yourself. You shouldn't be upset with yourself. You did a terrible thing. Because you were distracted, and even if you weren't distracted, if actually you were involved in that kind of, God forbid, that tragedy, you have difficulty dealing with it if you're a decent human being. Why? Because you're pained. Through you, a person lost his life. So it's the reflection on you. Right? You were the agent. Why did God choose me to be the agent? I'd be the agent to bring about such tragedy. So it's a terrible thing. So yeah, of course you're pained by it. No, it depends. Depends what level of depression. You know, remorse only has value if you're going forward with it. If it's going to take you down, then you brush it under the carpet. Right? It's a fine line over here. I quoted a sefer. So it's unbelievable. The Vilna Gaon said on the author of this sefer that he chosid. Chosid doesn't mean, you know, side blocks with a long satin coat. Doesn't mean that. That he was exceptional in piety. So, and if you read, and it's all on Pirushat Tefillah throughout the different things based on Zohar, it's like it could set you on fire. I mean, literally. So I once asked somebody who's one of the top mashgichim in Israel, who I know many years. He used to go visit Rabbi Kaplan. I said, why don't people study it? I mean, I studied it when I was about 19, and I know what it did for me. I said, what, besides the knowledge that's there, but in terms of the inspiration, he says the reason why, from his experience, because he deals with students, yeshiva over 50 years, most people study it, unless you're really mature and you've seen life, they become depressed. Why? Because if you read it, there's such a level of expectation of what you see, what you should be. And if you don't meet the grade, people take a nosedive. They get depressed. Therefore, if a person less than, like, 25, 30 wants to study it, he discourages it. That's exactly what you're talking about. You know, here you're supposed to be inspired to advance. So what happens? You get all inspired, and if you don't make the grade, what happens? You say, well, it's all over. I failed, go into a depression, then you go south rather than going north. And that's the problem. So I'm saying remorse or regret, it's not, you have to be very careful. Even when you give a person musar, you rebuke, admonish a person, you got to be very sensitive. You know, you take a glass vessel, you know, you want to move it. You move it with a jolt, you could break it. A human being is very delicate. You have to you know exactly how to speak to people. You could actually, you bring a person to a level of, he understands that he can't live with himself. He says, you know, I failed, it's hopeless, there's no point in going further. You know, the person stops being observant because he says the whole thing, I'm not going to succeed in either way, so what's the point? It's all futile. So you have to be very, very careful for this reason. Okay.